Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a best-of-5 series of Protoss versus Protoss, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Jagannatha. Spawning here in the top right corner, playing with the blue Protoss probes, we have PartinG, one of the highest ranked Protoss players in the world. His opponent, likewise also one of the highest ranked Protosses on the planet, we're looking at none other than Zest's main Nexus. Now, this particular best-of-5 series is the grand finals of the ESL Open Cup Korea number, I want to say 80, but it could be 81. I think it's 80. Pretty sure it's 80. Either way, that of course does mean that we are in for some high-level StarCraft 2, because obviously money is on the line. It's going to be a Protoss versus Protoss. Now, PvP in general is a matchup that is played quite a lot in tournaments right now. In case you're unfamiliar, there's quite a few Protosses that make it deep into tournaments. However, once we get past like the earlier stages of an event and like past like the mid stages of an event, it seems like the amount and the percentage of Protoss players goes down quite a bit. Interestingly enough, when it comes to like the highest level games, it seems like Terran and Zerg are doing just fine. However, when it comes to like, I don't know, like 6.5k MMR and below, it seems like there's like 50% Protoss players currently in tournaments. Either way, of course, not a huge deal because, well, the game is balanced around the players at the tippity top. At this point, actually, this is kind of crazy, okay? If I'm not mistaken, the most recent balance patch in StarCraft 2 was in August. I think the 20th of August, I want to say, but I'm not entirely sure if that's the case. Either way, late August 2020. So we are coming up on nearly an entire year of no balance updates to StarCraft 2, which is absolutely insane. I don't think we've ever actually had that before. Now, at this point, I'm honestly not even sure if there's anyone working on this game, because there's been a bunch of bugs recently, over like the last half year or so that just haven't been fixed. There's players that are stuck in Bronze League, even though they have Master League MMR, and all kinds of other weird things that are happening. Obviously, we haven't had a map pool change with the most recent season either. What I'm trying to get at, though, is that, well, there's obviously bigger fish to fry right now at Blizzard, right? I don't really want to get into the drama at this point. Could make a dedicated video about that if anyone's interested in my thoughts, but basically what I'm trying to get at is that if there is, you know, a patch to get stuck on, I actually think that this one is pretty freaking good. Yeah. I mean, especially at the tippity top of the skill level, it seems like Terran, Protoss, and Zerg all have a good chance. For a little while there, it seemed like that maxed out Skytos army may have been a little bit too much, but the top level players seem to be taking care of that relatively easily right now. I mean, for example, in the ESL Korea in the grand finals, we had Dark versus Trap. And in some of the games, Trap managed to get to that maxed out Skytos army, and Dark just shut it down like it was the easiest thing in the world. For a while, it looked a little bit shaky. Now, actually, what do we have here? Zest is literally proxying a gateway right outside of his opponent's natural expansion. Now, PartinG is sending an hallucinated Phoenix. Okay, he'll find out about this. The problem is he's got sentries. He's got 2 sentries. Sentries are really good at tickling. They're not very good at killing stuff. Okay, I was gonna say, I don't think he can really move that forward. There's already 4 Stalkers moving across the map. That Expo here, while Zest was pretending to take it, I don't think he's planning on actually grabbing that expansion at all. He's got 4 gateways here very shortly. This is just gonna be a good old 4 gateway all-in, with I guess a shield battery follow-up. I thought we had standard Expos here for a little bit, but I guess Mr. Zest was already chrono boosting out that warp gate upgrade for a little while. Now, obviously, shield batteries are absolutely huge. One Stalker does end up going down here. Battery overcharge will be activated. I think this triggers Zest to back off for now. Okay. Problem is, he can warp in a ton of units, and he's going to get his own shield batteries up right now as well. 2 sentries are nice and all, but you have to be very, very on point. If that pylon falls, I feel like this game is over. Okay? Yeah, at this point, like, he can one-shot the units. So, like, the batteries are nice and all, but he can almost one-shot the units if he target fires well right here with these Stalkers, and they're all in range to actually shoot at the same time. There's the pylon going down. That's the end of the expansion. Alright. Here I am, blabbering about unrelated stuff. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a situation where I think game number 1 is, yeah, pretty much as good as over. I mean, nah, there's definitely a chance for PartinG to break out of his base. The problem is, there's already an Expo coming up right now for Zest. PartinG is stuck on 1 expansion. I mean, he could definitely try and move down the ramp, but he's got an Immortal out and maybe a Prism as a follow-up as well. this is still such a huge army. Zest can even, like, force field his opponent inside of his own main. He's already got to go for the Twilight Council right now as a follow-up. Yeah, he can, like, contain the Protoss in blue instead of their own main base. Ooh, I love this. Hallucinated Colossus to provide high ground vision. He's got so much energy on those couple of sentries he has over here. Okay, that was good. Recalls them. Two of the units end up going down there. Hallucinated Colossus is kind of cute. So obviously they can see up the high ground. Hello, 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 Zest. What was that? Loses 2 Stalkers for free. Well, that's one way of coming back into it. Yeah, he just lost like 4 units there for free, basically. Bit unnecessary. And now, you know what? PartinG is going to be able to go down the ramp once more. Prism is done. Expo is done as well on the other side of the map. Blink is coming up here for Zest. Can he fight this? I think he is just going to. That Immortal is real nice, and that Prism obviously can juggle those units back and forth for a little while. Additional Adepts were warped in as well. They're going to be blocked outside of the main base because of that one probe that completes the wall off. At this point, though, there's just simply so much army available. I actually think it's kind of cool that he decided to warp in Adepts here as part of like a core army unit. Nice juggling here so far by PartinG. PartinG, of course, very well known for his control. Well, now he's completely stuck. I guess he's going to have to destroy his own pylon if he wants to continue warping in. Okay, that Immortal needs to stay alive. That Immortal is absolutely critical here. Okay. Zest does have an Expo, by the way, but he hasn't really, like, made a lot of workers for it. Adepts are gone right now. Blink is finishing up in 10 seconds. He can just try and blink on top of that Immortal and pick it off. Not a bad idea, honestly. I wonder if that's what he's gonna do. Yep, there we go. Okay, he snipes a Prism. Okay. The Immortal was inside of the Prism. Prism dies. And, okay. There it is. Alright, game number 2. We find ourselves on a Romanticide. Can't believe that Zest actually put the pylon right outside of his opponent's natural expansion. That was a very aggressive way of playing this particular matchup. But I guess he saw his opponent going for a few sentries. He's like, you know what? I've got Stalkers coming. What are you going to do with your sentries against my Stalkers? Like, tickle them to death? See how you hold this. Even though, by the way, he did make an Expo there. He didn't really have a lot more workers than his opponent. I think it was like 27 versus 24. So, yeah. It's not like he had a huge economical advantage. The Blink right there, though. On top of the army, sniping the Prism and the Immortal all at once. That was very clean clicking right there by the Protoss in red. Who's once again actually sending out a probe. In a bit of a weird pattern. Now, this could be a scouting worker, but the thing is, this is a bit early for a scouting worker, first off. And secondly, if it is going to be a scouting worker, where is it going? It's going over there. Ooh. I don't think you would, like, send it out in this pattern. Like, in this direction on the map. Okay. He had a rally point set up right over there. I think he's just patrolling back and forth for now. PartinG. PartinG is sending out his scouting worker at this point. Is Zest still planning on going to his opponent's natural? Because he wanted to earlier. Yep. Yep. He knows the timing at which PartinG apparently sends out his scouting worker. I mean, that's the standard time for that worker to go out. He did still go for the cybernetic score at home as well. Zest decides to plant a pylon this time around literally inside of the natural expansion of the opponent. So previously it was right outside of it, right? This one, yeah. This one is in like the back of the natural. Either way, PartinG at this point obviously picked up on the fact that there is a second pylon that's missing. There's supposed to be 2 pylons at this stage in the game. Doesn't really mean though that his opponent is cheesing, but so far apparently Zest is feeling feisty. What are we proxying? A robo facility. Alright. This probe over here. Oh my god. That was very close. If PartinG would have seen that probe came from a bit of a different direction, pretty sure that would have been game over, because obviously he would scout it right away. At this point, he might not really suspect a whole lot. Okay, that probe will be killed. Is he gonna find it, though? That's the question. Oh yeah, he's gonna find it. Okay, he's splitting up the Stalkers right here, and he finds that his opponent is he's not expanding. Well, I guess this is a bit of a mini expansion. of structures instead of the natural. Either way, he picked up on it right away, so this is not so good right now for Zest. He lets it finish? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, what are you gonna do? Couple of adepts are moving in here. Probe is ready to put, yep, the full wall down, so that's good. And this is now a significant advantage for the player in blue. Not only did he lose a pylon, obviously... Whoa, what the... Yo, Zest, are you kidding me, dude? So he's already gone for a Twilight Council at home, and now he's once again proxying a pylon in the center of the... Dude, Zest! He's proxying a Dark Shrine. This guy is feeling so cheesy right now, he can't stop cheesing. Okay. So, proxy Robo failed instantly into Twilight Council at home and then a proxy Dark Shrine? Normally, right, in these kind of games, it's PartinG that's the one that's, you know, cheesing. Now, PartinG has been practicing a ton recently, it seems. He did really well in the GSL Code S. So, yeah. I guess he's been bettering his life as far as the cheese goes, or something along those lines. This Stalker, is he gonna... No, PartinG! You absolute legend. Look at this. Finds it again. He finds the cheese into cheese. Stalkers can hit that from the low ground as long as this one Stalker over here provides the high ground vision. If that pylon is shut down, it becomes a bit of a wild scenario. Yep, Dark Shrine gets cancelled. And at this point, I mean, when cheese fails twice, I am pretty sure that there's not a whole lot of comeback potential, right? Okay, yeah. So, I don't think anything necessarily happened here, did it? Oh, he also lost a Stalker. Yeah, the thing is, there's a War Prism out. These Adepts are gonna get picked off as well. They're not really getting anything done. PartinG would just be able to heavily outproduce his opponent and just push for the victory. At this point, it's 28 versus 10 army supply. Alright, Zest. Zest is feeling zesty. I'd like to imagine that Zest rolled out of bed in the morning when this series was played. He's like, you know what? Today, I feel like making as few tech structures inside of my own main base as possible. I'm just gonna plant them down on the other side of the map instead. I don't mind it. Anyways, next up we are on Oxide. Oxide in general is a map where you can fast expand relatively easily because of the ramp. That being said, both players obviously know that the opponent can fast expand pretty easily. Usually single gateway expos are common. However, it's also very common to then try and block your opponent's natural expansion. I mean, this should be, with the emphasis on should, this should be a bit more of a macro-focused map. PartinG is sending out a probe once again, though. No, this is early. I think this is just scouting. This has to be just scouting, right? I can't find where it's supposed to go. Nah, this is just scouting. Yeah, he's just right-clicked it right there on the mineral patch. Okay. So, for once, we just have a normal situation here. PartinG, by the way, faking his expo, I suppose. He couldn't go for the expansion just yet, but Zest hadn't seen the second gas. Well, at this point, he still hasn't. Guess it's just going to be a Cybernetics core. Yep, Cyber Core number 1, Cyber Core number 2. Alright, alright. I'm paying very close attention right here to... No! Zest is sending out a second probe! Are you kidding me, man? I was gonna say, I'm paying very close attention to this worker. Because I'm, you know... Apparently Zest is just feeling like he can't stop. He just can't stop cheesing today. PartinG, in the meantime, is also planting out a pylon inside of the middle, or like in the middle of the map, roughly. It's a little bit strange. I guess he is planning on potentially proxying here as well, but Zest's pylon is so close to the main base of his opponent. I guess this has to be a Stargate, right? It makes sense at the very least, especially with like a single gateway opener. Yep, there it is. So obviously the flying path over there, right, for a Stargate unit is going to be pretty short. Could be Void Ray, but more than likely should be Oracle. PartinG, by the way, is also building a Robo in the middle of the map. Now, usually, Stargate versus Robo is good for the player that opened up with the Stargate. PartinG is actually fully walling himself in right now. He's scouting! He's scouting! Ooh. PartinG, you've been an absolute legend when it comes to picking up on this for a little while. The problem is... Oh, PartinG! Look at this guy! The problem is that he doesn't have any units instead of his main base, but once again, he finds the proxy. It's kind of wild. If you would have, like, covered up the names for this particular series, I would have definitely expected the player in red to be PartinG. Anyways, if you can shut down this pylon before the Oracle finishes, it's gonna be pretty good. Zealot comes up right now. Second Stalker is here too. That's gonna be real close. Yep. At the same time, looks like the proxy in the center of the map has been found as well on both players. It's like that, it's like that Spider-Man meme, you know, where they're both pointing at each other. You! What are you doing here? They're both cheesing. Is that Stalker gonna fall? Oh, actually. There is a probe. Okay. Thought for a second this was another pylon but that's PartinG's pylon. I guess this is PartinG's pylon to keep track of his opponent's pylon. Is he now also... Yep, he started up another pylon over here too. So both players, after getting busted with their proxies, are still gonna continue the proxies regardless. This pylon only needs to live for like 10 seconds, but this Oracle is now really expensive. And at this point, obviously, there's a bunch of gateways done as well for our player in blue. So I think it's gonna finish. And that's nice and all, but I mean, he does need to warp in something at home in order to defend against this. Prism is out as well right now for the player in blue. Oh, he goes Stasis Ward? Interesting. Oh my god, well that worked out like an absolute charm, huh? That could have really not gone much better. I guess with the shield battery down, you can stay alive for quite a while. PartinG, I guess, was just planning on taking some of those hits to the face. Either way, this is now a ton of lost mining time, and it's really gonna halt this production for quite a bit. Here's that famous PartinG micro, though. Obviously, this is played on the Korean server as well, because both of these guys are in Korea, meaning that there's no ping that can really bother him. PartinG is very... Oh my god, that's a disaster. Yeah. PartinG is very well known for his unit control. He's always been exceptionally good at it. Not to say that Zest is bad at it or whatever, but, like, PartinG really is good at keeping units alive. There is an Immortal out. Now, Immortal's obviously very strong against Stalkers. Wouldn't mind seeing another Immortal. I like how the setup over here in the natural expansion was for both players to go for an expansion, but neither of them was even considering making an expo. Oracle's still hovering around. At the very least, it's forced in a warp in at home as well, so I guess that's something, but the entire infrastructure right here on the low ground will be destroyed. PartinG could expand behind this if he really wants to, but yeah, he's scouting around the main base right now of his opponent. There's an Observer out as well. Yep. Observer spots the Observer. That means that the Observer dies. Oh, gotta be careful though. There's a sentry, yeah. I don't think you can really fight this, especially now when a Prism will be coming up here for Zest as well. This is awkward. A blue pylon, ready to power a red Stargate. Robo Bay being constructed here. It's already done for Zest. Ooh, a Disruptor is coming up already here for our player in red. There's no blink or anything here for PartinG, of course. Meaning that he needs to be very careful. One mistake and it can easily be game over with the Disruptor. Okay, this is good. Very nice for Zest. Looks like actually the Oracle, I guess, tried to work right here on the pylon. Judging by the green blood that was on the ground right there. Alien blood. He's hoping the Prism is going to return back home through the right side of the map, but I don't think that's going to happen because Zest has already made it to the natural of his opponent. Yeah, just killing some of the pylons actually is not a bad idea. Just shut down some of the production. Yeah. Apparently, he was attempting to go for an expo. Battery will be used right here to try and heal that pylon back up to full, and so far that seems to be working. This is awkward, though. If that Prism falls right here with the units in it, that would be a disaster. Okay, he's going to take care of his own cybernetics core, apparently. Remaking one inside of the main base, while simultaneously also producing a couple of these Disruptors in the middle of the map. Disruptor is already out for Zest. Second one available right now, too. This Prism is questionable. Do you have to recall it at this point? No, I guess not. I guess you can always force your hand over here, but it's just that you don't know right here if you're Zest where those opponents' units are going to be at, right? He's going for the Speedy Boy upgrade instead, so I guess that's... Oh, no. I was going to say, I guess that's the way he's planning on getting out. He's already broken out. At the same time, though, PartinG is now also moving across. Disruptors are waiting on the high ground, though. This is spotted just now, so both players trying to, like, outsmart each other. They can go through those, through those force fields. This is such a dicey game. This is a proper high-level game of StarCraft. But if you look at the, supply count right now, there's the speed upgrade. The Gravitic Drive finishing up for the Prism. It's so much faster. If you look at the supply counts right now, though, PartinG is a little bit ahead. Well, when I started trying to say that sentence, he was a little bit more ahead than that. He also now has an Expo finishing up. Whereas I don't know if that's going to happen here for... Well, no. No way. No way. No way. Hello. No cancel? No cancel. That's 400 minerals down the drain. He's trying to go instead for the surround right here, but he picks up the Stalkers instead of the Prism just barely in time. Drops them off once again. Picks up another one. Ay. That was some sexy control right there by PartinG. Did he lose a Stalker there? Maybe he lost a Stalker. Actually, in general, not really that many units have gone down here. More structures than units, it seems. Prism going across the map actually loses the Prism with one of the Disruptors in it. And there it is. GG is cold. Yeah. That previous game, though, was a proper high-level cheesy game of Protoss versus Protoss, right? Both players constantly moving around, trying to outsmart each other and trying to just play cleverly. That very much so felt like a chess game with a fog of war, right? Where both players are dealing with limited amounts of information and they're trying to make the best of it. Either way, game right there went in favor of PartinG, who's playing a very impressive series so far. He's very good at picking up on the cheese at this point, right? Do you think Zest is gonna go for cheese again? He's gonna go for the cheese hat trick? Although I guess he's already done it 3 times. I guess it already counts as a cheese hat trick, sure. Will he go for 4 though? 4 games of cheese in a row? Well, I thought that probe for a second was thinking about moving out. Yeah, so usually PartinG is the one that plays a little bit more cheesily, but hey, one more map for the man. Can't blame him. We're on Lightshade. This map has been around since forever. Very well figured out. It's a good map, though. I don't think anyone really complains about this one. He is a little bit different when it comes to, like, the positioning right there. I think I prefer the setup right here from Zest. Zest, no! He really can't stop cheesing. No. Actually, I don't think this is cheese. No, this is just him. I think he's just... Wait, is he gonna just plant the second pylon down? Normally, it's 22 supply for the second pylon. Yeah. Okay. So this is just him playing the series at this point. So this is what I was trying to explain earlier. PartinG at this point gets across the map and sees the lack of second pylon. He sees double gas has been acquired, so he knows that this should be a standard game. However, he doesn't know where that second pylon is located. And it could literally be anywhere. It could be over here. It could be over there. Could be, like, it could be anywhere, right? Doesn't really matter. It's just that it could also be right over here, right? So I think that these 2 Stalkers that PartinG is making right now, they're probably going to do a little bit of scouting here as soon as they can. Just like he did in the previous games. He'll probably try to figure out what's happening, but I think that this is Zest playing a relatively normal game. Third pylon is spotted here for PartinG, so that is something. That is the position you usually put it in a natural expansion if you want to, like, you know, go shield battery and stuff. Okay. Guess this is a scouting pylon? I don't think he intends on finishing that one. Does he? Okay, that was very weird. PartinG is scouting around. He hasn't found that pylon yet, but he is... Rather than scouting with the Stalkers, he's just... scouting around with the probe at this point, making sure he checks all the most likely locations. Back at the third base, back at the natural. He'll figure it out soon enough. He does have minerals right now for the Expo, and he does plant it down. Stalkers, though, from PartinG are now waiting on the high ground. Hallucinated Phoenix is coming across the map. I don't know if he has seen the sentries, but it's usually an indication that it's a macro game. Like, you don't usually go sentry first into Phoenix Scout. Like Hallucinated Phoenix Scout, that is. If you're playing a cheesy one. So PartinG has decided to go for the Stargate opener of his own. Twilight Council here for Zest coming up at this point. He also made an Expo. Okay, alright. So we've got a relatively normal game. 4 Stalkers. Ooh, you can pick off a sentry, that might not be bad. Okay, that's one sentry. Second sentry. Good force field. Third sentry even goes down. I think this is good for parting, right? 2 stalkers for... oh, maybe 3 stalkers. That makes it a little bit more questionable. Can it run away? I think it will. Going through the tall grass right there. Those are vision blockers. So the line of sight... oh my god, really? That's like me playing Protoss now, bro. I'm like, yes, I got it out! And then I lose it anyway. Guess it was because it was busy microing the Oracle there. Anyways, that was a little bit sloppy. So in the end, 3 stalkers right there for 3 sentries. Yeah, I guess that's okay. 2 stalkers for 3 sentries would have been much better, though. Zest still has that pylon out. It's a bit of a slower warp in, I guess, but he's going to be able to get it across relatively easily. Blink on both sides of the map. Adepts actually sneak into the main. They can 2-shot workers here. Like, with 2 adepts, you can 2-shot them, so it's 1 shot. You get what I'm trying to say. 3 workers so far. There is a shield battery here in the natural. A little bit of a misclick right there by parting, so... don't know if you would have finished off the worker there in the end. At the same time, 2 adepts over here now as well. 1 adept. That was very close. Buried the probe right there, sleeping on the job, but luckily he woke up just in the nick of time. Alright. So it looks like we have ourselves a bit more of a conventional game of PvP. So in a conventional game of PvP, normally it's Blink Stalker versus Disruptor. That's like the common thing that we see a lot. Immortal's obviously good. Zealot's obviously good with charge. Archons at that point are good as well. Prisms are good. Basically what I'm trying to say is that you need 3 hands in order to play Protoss versus Protoss good. It's really easy to accidentally mess up. Now I love this. Stasis Ward on the high ground. Zest could have considered going up there. Blinking up towards the high ground. Didn't happen here, but doesn't even have high ground vision. He's thinking about it. Did he see the stasis? I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Ooh, nice control there. Both players trying to blink on top of each other. Couple of stalkers lost on both sides. Okay. I think this is slightly in favor here of parting. Yep, especially... ooh, if you can grab 1 more. Fort's coming up here for parting. 3rd Nexus gets planted down. As there's like a lot of stalkers at the front door. Parting sees the timing of it now. Yep, we'll go for his own too. Yeah, okay, so now we have a proper macro PvP. That's good. I like it. Robo transitions are the standard from here usually. Is he going to be able to force that cancel? I doubt it. He knows his opponent is Blink as well, right? He saw what happens in game number 1 when you get blinked on. Yep. You have to make sure you have enough distance between you and the opposing stalkers to make sure you can get out in time. It's very dangerous, because like 12 stalkers going up against 10 is heavily in favor of the player that has 12. Like, it's not like 2 of them will live to tell that tale. It's going to be like 8. It's huge. There's the Robo facility. Charge is coming up here for parting. It's just adding on additional gateways here for now. Here's when the extra gases are being built as well. Okay. Just scouting around, making sure they know roughly where the opponent is located. Sees the fact that there's only 3 gases in total at this point here for Zest. Robo facility therefore gets spotted. Okay. Zest moving around. He doesn't know about his opponent's low ground third yet, but at this point he probably imagines that it's there. Those stasis wards are really quite good, man. That stasis ward could be a disaster. Ooh, God. Okay, there you go. That actually could be a big problem. One little misplay and all those units can be gone. Guess the ones in the natural will probably be picked off. Yep, these adepts probably won't get too much work done. Nah, they're just gonna try and blink towards their friends. Blinks back the weakened units once again. Good control here by parting. Zest wants to keep those units alive. There you go. Blinks the ones after they come out of stasis, and now they join the rest of the battle. These guys are really good. This looks so easy. Until you give it a try. And you feel like a toddler who's never microed any units before. Or like you're so busy with it and then you find yourself at 1,000 minerals. That's also very common, man. Where you have players like perfectly microing the Stalkers, and then you look at the resource count, you're like, crap, I forgot 3 warp ins. This is awkward. Ooh, this is actually pretty bad for PartinG. He was ready to transfer workers down towards the low ground, but apparently he walled himself in fully, rather than going after the shield battery. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, he re-decided there to go for the gateway for a little bit instead. Anyways, okay, now they're gonna be able to go down to the low ground. That was a little bit funky. I don't really like the SimCity of PartinG as much as I like the one that Zest is going for. Just seems a little bit cleaner. You can see he leaves, like, alleyways as well. Doesn't seem significant until there's a warp prism side of your main base and it warps in 10 Stalkers. Yeah, having, like, enough space right here to, like, hold position and Archon. Super helpful. It's a little bit harder to pull that off right here if you're PartinG. Everything's built a little bit tighter. Either way, PartinG managed to get into his opponent's natural expansion. Very ambitious stasis ward, but I guess that's because of this situation right over here. Battery overcharge is huge. You can only overcharge a battery that's close to a nexus. So PartinG obviously has that defender's advantage right now. Charge is done for the player in blue. It's not done here for Zest. He hasn't even started it yet. Upgrades-wise, we're both at 1-1. +2 is coming up for PartinG, though, and will finish within, like, the next half minute or so. Looks like he's adding on Archons right now, too, upon seeing some of his opponent's Zealots. Zealots are very, very weak against those units. So, upgrade-wise, this is looking real good here for PartinG. Zest, though, does have a large army here. Battery overcharge also not to be underestimated, though. PartinG also has slightly more workers, which does help. I think all of those things actually slightly favor the player here in blue. That +2 ground weapons is huge, though. That really can make all the difference. There is one Immortal available here for Zest, whereas there's none for PartinG. Picking up the Archons once again, deposits them in the back. Very dicey. Very dicey. Battery overcharge activated right now. Decides to blink forward. Backs off once again. I don't know if I like that battery overcharge. Wouldn't have minded like a battery over here, so you have a little bit more ranged, I suppose. Concave versus Convex is also huge, right? Concave is pretty much always better in StarCraft. Zest is slowly getting more and more eco. There's that stasis ward once again coming up. This time around, it may very well work. That's huge! Oh my god. That is massive. That's effectively an entire base killed for like half a minute. Zest is gonna have to make the commitment here at some point, and PartinG knows it. Oh, he actually decides to commit himself. Wait, PartinG actually decides to now push the button. Blinks on top right there. There's a lot of Zealots right now that are engaging some of the Stalkers as well. At the same time, we can see the same right here up north. Archons juggled backwards. Immortals still getting some work done. Army right here is looking a little bit better for Zest, but supply-wise, it doesn't really seem to favor him all too much. He falls back, PartinG that is, to the safety of the batteries. Overcharge will once again be available. A lot of low hit point units right here. That Immortal falls up north. Archon also falls after it. At this point, though, yeah, there's way more Stalkers available here for Zest. Battery overcharge comes up. Battery overcharge keep those units alive for such a long time. He's trying to target it down as well, but that took like 3 shots right there of all of those Stalkers to try and make that happen. Zest probably wants to do another warp in. There we go. These guys are going neck and neck. Okay, well. That Observer right there sadly was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Got rallied out and is like, hey guys! And then insta-died. Worker-wise, still an advantage right here for PartinG. I think the fights have been going ever so slightly in favor here of Zest. But the problem is that the batteries are helpful. And that eco advantage and upgrade advantage definitely is also giving like PartinG a small edge. And I think it may be the edge he needs. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Zest realizes here with a bit of an early GG that he is behind in army, that he is behind in eco, and that he is behind in upgrades. And at that point, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to stop the inevitable PartinG counterattack. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. If you did, please do me a favor and hit that like button, or the dislike button, I guess. That's fine as well if you made it all the way until this end in the video, though. I'm going to make the assumption you probably liked it. But for now, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.